Okay. Recently got an SD card for my phone, so now I can film videos on this thing without worrying about 5 gigs of video hogging up space. Yay. But also I don't feel like throwing on a background right now, so you're just gonna have to deal with the stapler, cutting mat, and whatever else is around my desk when filming this video. But that's not the topic of today. The topic is another 3 months of G7 discourse. Admittedly, with this being one of my biggest hobbies of 2024 to 2025, I've been feeling a bit frustrated with the state of G7s. While I've given the benefit of the doubt when the revival was still new, with some of the problems I've had since Wave 1 still going on into Year 2 of G7, it's more than fair to rant about these problems that have been making me feel more apathetic towards the hobby. This video will primarily be based on my own collecting experience. For some context, I consider myself a casual collector who mostly picks up pets as I feel like it, versus chasing down sought-after pets. I'm primarily a G7 collector due to how insane scalper prices have gotten for G1 through 2 pets. I strongly prefer shopping in person versus online due to wanting to check both quality, avoid duplicates, and not wanting to dual shipping. LPS is not my main hobby, and I tend to give priority to other interests outside of LPS like art and video games to keep this feasible to keep up with. I also acknowledge that at the end of the day, LPS is a luxury expense. But the way I see it is, if I'm going to go out of my way to buy them compared to other interests and expenses, I want to make sure what I'm spending on is worthwhile. My first main complaint is availability, especially as someone who prefers to shop in person. Without giving too much away, I have several stores that carry LPS relatively close to me. However, I've found LPS availability in my area to be very inconsistent. Some stores will get things early, some on the expected release dates according to the posts I've seen online, and some will just never show up in nearby stores at all. Seriously, I am still mad it took 6 months to be able to find the Wave 1 pet pairs, and nearly a year to find the Island Vibes tube set in person, and even so I only found it once. This usually leaves me with 2 options. Drive nearly an hour away to a store that has them, or order online. On driving, I'm no stranger to longer card trips. Just ask my main hobby. But it isn't feasible as a guy without a license and has to get a ride from someone else. And online shopping is a whole other set of problems in itself. First off, I don't like how most online storefronts force you to make an account to place an order. Maybe it's an aging Gen Z trait of mine, but it's annoying to have to keep up with so many passwords and accounts just because you want to get like one thing. There's also the fact that some of the major places for getting LPS force you to buy a certain amount to even have it shipped to you. And Walmart will charge extra if you don't hit the minimum, making a $7 pack more expensive than normal. I think Walmart is the most egregious as well because for some reason they decided to make their site both an online storefront a la Amazon and a place to check in-person stores. And yes, you can filter out the results to only show in-person options, but it's still an extremely dumb design choice that leads to actual listings getting surrounded by scalper prices and fake listings that are presented like you're ordering from a trusted source. And while I haven't been affected by this myself, I know this caused major problems for people looking for the advent calendar last year, as people were buying from these fake listings due to them being presented in the same space as the official ones. I should also note I'm also speaking from the perspective of a US collector, aka one of the regions that tend to get more attention from toy brands, and yet it's still frustrating to even find these plastic animals. While I can't speak on behalf of our community members abroad, I know through many comments I've read and videos I've seen, non-US collectors have been getting the short end of the stick with super delayed or no releases and with little communication from both Basic Fun and the chains that are supplying them. So let's say I got over my preference to shop in person and order from real listings online, which I would be more okay with if it wasn't for the teensy consistent problem of G7's quality control. I've already made a video going over it in my Wave 1s, which I'll link in the description, and at this point, it's a well-documented issue in the community, but I'll talk about it here since it's relevant and show a few more errors in my collection as B-roll. While I think it is at its worst in Wave 2, G7's quality is just extremely inconsistent to the point it makes getting pets frustrating when there's a chance the pet that I really want is going to have misprints, dents, neck peg errors, or squishy heads. The only way to check for this is going in person, and even this is limited when it comes to blind packaging. More on that later. And it's not even a fun experience to comb through packs to see which ones are the best quality. I just find it annoying that I can't just pick up a new pet and have it be good quality right out of the box. There's also been issues with dirt on new pets. While in my collection, I've mostly seen it on Five Below releases, and toys there in general don't have the greatest quality assurance, it's just gross. And the ES versus KX variants. Apparently the reason this happened is because Basic Fun got another factory to produce LPS, which in itself is fine. And I do like the attempts to bring back painted eyes, but KX pets in my experience have some of the worst quality control, with really awful misprints and even scratches on them. For me, as someone who isn't a hardcore collector and wants to save funds for other hobbies, I don't buy duplicates unless I'm looking to use it for a custom. So if I'm gonna get one for collecting purposes, I want it to be the best quality I can get since that's likely the only one I'll get. There's other collectors who are okay with going through this process of rebuying pets until they get the best one. And with this comment, I'm not trying to shame them. That's their money and they can spend as they want. But I think it's important to acknowledge that not everyone is in the position to be doing that. There's people like me who want to budget their hobby expenses or give priority to other interests, and especially in this economy, I imagine there's more people who are more focused on essentials and can't constantly be spending money on LPS. So not having the quality control nailed is a major inconvenience to those of us who aren't in a position to be constantly rebuying. I've noted some people in the community have said that the level of errors leave fakes to feel a lot better than authentic pets, and now that I've gotten some fakies myself, I kinda see why. Like, here's this one really squishy LPS that I'm terrified of customizing, and here's a bunch of white fakey bases that I have on hand. Like, yeah, these are white bases and the pegs aren't really as good feeling as authentic pets. Like, this one's really sunken in for some reason, but at the very least I can sculpt on this one without worrying about like squishing it too hard and accidentally destroying the sculpting. So the paint jobs are still wonky, but I guess even though it's annoying having to comb through the packs to get the perfect one, I can reliably check the pet pairs and pet tubes for issues. Right? Right? Blind packaging, or as I like to call it, invasive species. Full disclosure, even though I suck it up for LPS to an extent, I am a major long-term hater of blind packaging. Yes, I know it's the current trend of the toy industry to try to shove everything in convoluted unboxing gimmicks, but the vast majority of blind packaging is wasteful or serves as a major inconvenience to anyone without a cheat code list. I guess at least a good chunk of G7 blind packs are mostly paper and cardboard, but the praise is completely invalidated when you get the pet tubes, which are still like, sorry Zinnia, largely plastic. That's hard to find a way to reuse them. Like, yeah, toy collecting is an inherently wasteful and consumeristic hobby, but that doesn't mean I can't complain about the amount of trash I'm stuck with. Especially when it comes to duplicates, aka more packaging to discard or figure out what the hell to do with. For the most part, you can kind of curb them with cheat codes, which are a convoluted nightmare of their own to keep track of, Like, yeah, the blind boxes are supposed to be blind, but I think the option to evade duplicates should still be there and consistent and not require having 5 guides on standby. At least with the surprise tubes and pet pairs, you can tell what's inside by the color of the paw pad, but that is not a point of praise when you consider these were not blind initially, but you can still find them in non-blind packaging. By the way, I will note that during the scripting of this video, I did find out that the reason why we have like blind packs and non-blind packs for the pet pairs and tubes is because apparently some retailers do want blind packaging, which kind of scummy. Like, yeah, I guess Basic Fun was trying to meet like storefront demands, but especially with quality control and availability issues being a major complaint since wave 1, this choice feels extremely backhanded for me. Like I said earlier, not everyone is in the position to or even wants to constantly rebuy pets for the best looking one, and shopping in person is one way to avoid misprints. But with the packaging being blind in some places, the benefit is gone for at least half the wave unless you're in a region that bans blind boxes or have a store near you that doesn't carry them. But beyond quality control, it also means ordering online is even more inconvenient, since these blind listings aren't marked as individual sets like they were previously. They're marked in one blind box listing, meaning there's no guarantee that ordering 4 pet pairs will get you all 4. And you can easily get unlucky and get stuck with the same 4 sets. By the way, I should note that I'm in no way blaming customer service or inventory workers for this. It's not their job to keep up with every single blind box cheat code and trend. The repeats from ordering online at the end of the day is a store chain's not stocking shelves issue and blind boxes are awful issue that could have been avoided by Basic Fun sticking with visible packaging and not locking already hard to find sets behind a mystery gimmick. I feel like throwing this out there because we should direct our frustrations to the source of the issue versus retail workers trying to make ends meet. Going back to my own collecting, the pet pairs are still the sets I've had the most issues trying to find in my area, and would like the most out of all pets to avoid duplicates since I don't know when the next chance I'm going to get them. Like, the only store for a while that carried them only carried them blind, and they haven't restocked since I got this back in like February, I think. I feel like I kind of lucked out that my nearest Macy's started carrying the pet pairs. But also, ordering online is not a guarantee you won't get dupes anymore. I will say, based on the pets I've gotten from Wave 3 so far, I think the quality control is improving to the point most of the errors I've seen aren't ones that are overly visible or bother me otherwise, but it's still not at a point where I feel comfortable buying them blind all the time. So between poor availability in person, a poor online shopping experience, continuing quality control issues, and blind packaging, where does this leave me as a casual collector? I know some people might ask, hey Nat, if G7 is frustrating you, why not collect G1s and G2s? And to that, the answer is check the collector's market prices. Some of these pets aren't even that rare either and are only priced that way because of popularity. It's a consistent issue that's been around since the golden age of LPS Tube that's only gotten worse over the years to the point it's not worth it for me. Like, I've actually written off actively seeking out big fives because even with the designs I want, I'm not willing to drop 100 plus for a listing that may or may not be a fake. So to me, if I want to stay in the hobby as well as keep up with my other interests, G7 is the way to go. I'm not gonna lie, I've been slowing down on collecting myself lately. With the amount of times I've felt disappointed or even frustrated with LPS collecting in the past few months, I've found myself not feeling the want to go out of my way to get them. Arguably, it's for the best since I'm not too happy with how much I've impulse bought pets within the last year or so. Mainly because outside of rotating them out as desk display props, I haven't done much with all the pets I've gotten, and it ended up turning into buying for the sake of having them. But it still sucks that part of the reason I came to the conclusion was apathy and frustrations with collecting. I am only semi-active in the community, so it's best to subscribe and turn on post notifs if you want to keep up with my LPS stuff. But this is Nat, and I'll see you next time I get the itch to make an LPS video. I'd like to apologize to these girls for throwing stuff at them for the invasive species bit. So sorry.